How you doing, buddy?
I am ready to get down sexually while you play the banjo.
That's not possible.
I guess it is.
I guess it is. So yeah, we watched The Promotion.
Yep.
And I believe this was your pick.
Sure was.
Yeah.
It's it's about two assistant managers to a grocery store competing over who gets to become the new manager to a brand new opening grocery store.
Yep.
I swear I absolutely confused this with the Dane Cook movie when I was thinking about it.
I think, doesn't he also work in a grocery store in that movie?
I think it's more of a Home Depot.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
With Jessica Simpson and like Dax Shepard. I had to look it up to see, like, when did which come out? Like, that Employee of the Month, which is the Dane Cook movie, came out like 2 years before this.
Okay.
Another movie I did not see before.
I don't think I saw it either. Yeah.
Yeah, I pretty much skipped all Dane Cook movies that wasn't Mr. Brooks.
Oh, yeah. I kind of dug that one, yeah. I watched that before Dexter, though.
Well.
But, yeah, anyway. So yeah, that about takes us to it. So what was your overall impression?
Yeah, so this movie, you know what? I'm spoiling things a little bit,
okay.
but I'm gonna tell you what Roger Ebert's review was.
Okay.
He gave this movie 2 out of 4 stars. And he said, I was never quite sure whether I was supposed to be laughing at them or feeling sorry for them. It's one of those off-balance movies that seems to be searching for the right tone.
Yeah, I think that about sums it up pretty nicely. Like it I don't think it could figure its tone out either. And I think, like, I don't know if it's the directing or the writing or whatever. I don't know.
Well, it's same guy.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. It felt like an imitation of an Alexander Payne movie.
Okay.
That just like didn't know how to deliver both. I'm like, okay, yeah, this isn't Sideways or Election or Nebraska, which can give me healthy doses of both.
Right.
This is a pale imitation.
Yeah. And it seemed like they were trying so hard to give this tone that just it never quite really panned out in a lot of ways. But then you have these people in the movie that seem very constrained by it.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like almost towards the end of the movie, John C. Reilly tries to break out of it a few times. And yeah, it's just a lot of flat. That's what this movie leaves me, flat.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess we should get into it then.
Yeah, so we're gonna put Doug Stauber, right, and Richard Welker, right, are in the same category.
Yeah, as the co-leads. Yeah, they're both in the poster,
Wellner,
like you said. Wellner, and they both, they both had arcs versus everybody else in this movie. So let's start off with our real lead, Doug.
Yeah,
played by Sean William Scott.
Yeah, he's really at this point trying to break out from Stifler real hard.
Yeah, I don't know. It almost seemed like he was doing. I feel like there were times when like Stifler would make like a nerd impression of like Jim or something like that.
Right. And
this seemed to be this character's voice the whole time.
Right. I think I get what you're throwing. Yeah.
Which is like, okay. I know Sean William Scott is capable of more. I mean, like Goon is a great movie.
Agreed.
And he's not anything like Stifler in that.
Yeah. So he can do more. It's just weird because it's like, he's probably has got the performance more than anyone else's where he's really like, I feel like put in this box that he was not allowed to break out of like at all. And I think struggled with that more than anyone else or something. That's what it almost felt like. Cause it's like, it had to be very deadpan, but seriously delivered in every delivery. And it just didn't work.
You know what the thing is? When you have a guy who looks like Sean William Scott,
Yeah.
You never feel that bad about him being like when he's in a pathetic situation. And all apologies to one of the greats. If you have like Matthew Broderick in this character, like adult Matthew Broderick
Right.
in this role, it's like, playing like an election type character. Like I keep on going back to Alexander Payne. I'm sorry. Like, yeah, that works perfectly.
Yeah.
It's like you feel bad for this middle-aged guy, this schlub who's like stuck in this thing. He's better than this or whatever. But you put Sean William Scott, and you're like, well, you're still pretty and married to a beautiful woman, so I only feel so bad for you at any given moment.
I mean, maybe almost like the roles had to be reversed. Like they miscasted them. Like
possibly.
Yeah, like Stauber should have been John C. Reilly and
right.
Wellner should have been Sean William. So then you could be like, okay, so he has this pretty bad past of being addicted in a biker gang, and that's why he's in the place he's at,
Right, and maybe Sean William Scott gives it a go of trying. Well, we've heard Sean William Scott do a legitimate Canadian accent.
Yeah, true.
Goon, which John C. Reilly does. I wouldn't even call it a half-hearted attempt in this movie.
I think he says sorry once, and like I think it's about it.
Yeah, I'll get into my dismay about that in a little bit.
Yeah, fair enough.
Let's get into Doug.
Yeah.
He's a 33-year-old man who works as an assistant manager at Donaldson's grocery store in the outer edges of Chicago. You want to say any woot-woots to your, I don't know, familial land?
Woot?
Yeah. There you go.
I don't have any ties, but yes.
Woot to your wife.
My wife
and her
does.
family.
Yep.
Yeah. He's been grinding for years, but he and his wife have finally saved up just enough money to move out of their tiny apartment and buy a house. If Doug can land the job as manager at the new Donaldson's location, opening near where he already lives.
Right.
He's a shoo-in.
Yes. Which we'll get back to when we get to hilarity. It's like one of the few times it made me laugh.
Until some guy from Canada joins the store.
Right.
And
Richard Wellner seems to be a bit more personable. He seems to be a little bit better at some of that type of stuff.
He seems more comfortable with who he is.
Right.
But I want to do a little bit more into Doug too. But
fair enough.
So before Richard even gets there, Doug makes it seem like he's the only one who basically runs the store and keeps it going.
Right, because he says like some comment about his like manager was like out seeing a movie or something.
Yeah, his boss Scott is usually at the movies.
Yeah,
but that doesn't seem accurate when watching the movie as far as Scott, the boss, is concerned. He's like always around.
He does seem around, yeah.
Still, you feel bad because he's usually has to like do the part of eating shit at the store.
Yeah. It's weird
the worst part.
That there's a manager or an assistant manager's job is just the parking lot.
It's weird that all these assistant managers are working at the same time.
True. Yeah.
I don't know about how you and I both have very limited time in retail.
Right.
I worked at Circuit City back in the day. They're aging me. And Blockbuster.
Yeah, I did Office Max.
Right. And Best Buy.
Yeah.
So like back then it was like, okay, there would usually be like an assistant manager on premises.
Yeah,
there'd be one or the other
on the hours too, but yeah, like
right.
Like,
sometimes there'd be overlap.
Yeah, or like high traffic times or something like that. Like it's a busy holiday,
but never a manager and like 2 to 3 assistants. There's apparently a third assistant.
There's
manager
apparently a third one that we never see. Yeah,
yeah, but like there's always like 2 assistant managers and a manager on premises at all times.
It's a lot.
I've never seen this before.
Yeah, it's a lot. And I was just like, man, why is there I've never seen a manager just be in the parking lot.
An assistant manager being sentenced to the parking lot to just manage the parking lot. Like, never seen a grocery store like that.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah. It's not a big grocery store either, from what I could tell.
No, it's amazing that they can't get anything under control with this many administration.
This many managers, yeah.
Large bureaucracy.
So yeah, John C. Reilly plays Richard Wellner, a husband and father from Quebec, Canada, who has moved his family down for a fresh start. Richard is a recovering addict and alcoholic and is trying his best to overcome his demons and be the man his wife and child need.
Yeah.
Pretty sympathetic character.
It seems to be that's that's really both characters driving thing, right? They both want to prove some kind of manhood provider thing for their families. Is both their driving motivation.
Right, and I like the instinct of like we're gonna have both these guys be equally sympathetic.
Yeah, and
But
I think they really do a good job of building exactly what their motivations are and why they're doing this, and they're not exactly bad people, but they end up making some bad decisions because of
it. They do, and I feel like that they really just didn't go far enough with the bad decisions.
Yeah,
like when they started playing dirty with each other.
Yeah,
it's like it always felt really like, you know, we don't want to make any of these characters too unsympathetic, which is where Alexander Payne would be like, other way around. You want to see these people become awful.
And I feel like
because you want to see them to really enter the rat race and go cutthroat to become manager at a grocery store and like show like the hollowness and most pathetic parts of capitalism.
And I think
like, that's
where
the good
you
stuff.
Get the humor.
That's where you should have gotten.
That's where the humor should have been. Yeah.
Yeah.
And because they never really did it, it was pretty hard to find a lot of humor here.
Yeah, it was really, like I said, like half-hearted. Like, well, we don't want to make anyone too bad. I'm like,
yeah,
wusses.
Agreed.
So Richard's accent, his Quebec accent, comes and goes and is never quite anything close to a thick French Canadian accent.
It's mostly just John C. Reilly.
Right, and considering this character is from Quebec.
Yeah. I love you. Keep going. One more time.
He should have been Quebec. He should have been talking like super like thick Frenchy.
Yeah.
Which would have provided lots of humor.
Sure.
And I just can't help but wonder if like the scenes where the accent is noticeable were like shot first and they just like dropped it after a while. It's like, yeah, I'm not doing this the whole time.
Maybe. Yeah.
Because it's like in like two scenes where it's like kind of, I would never call it thick. My paper gets like a quarter of the way there and then it's like gone throughout the rest.
You know what would have been good too? Like, as I kept trying the humor.
If they had made him from Toronto, it would have been fine. But from Quebec, like, no. That's a special part of Canada.
Because when he's listening to his self-help tape, right? When his name drops in, that's him doing the name, right?
I couldn't tell.
I thought it was, and I was like, man, if they try to do this French-Canadian accent every time the drop-in of Richard Wellner came in, that would have been a much funnier joke.
Yes. Like, if he had sounded like, Sacha Baron Cohen.
Right.
In Talladega Nights.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yes. That's what he should have sounded like.
Yeah.
And John C. Reilly doing that voice would have rocked my world. Alas, no.
It's way too subdued and dry, and it just doesn't land again. It just and so that's I'm like, it's like you got two pretty good actors. No one's doing a particularly bad job. I think it's the circumstances of the situation, but they just no one's really going far enough, and there's just lack of humor from a lot of it.
And I couldn't get above a 2. For this category.
I was the same.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
So when did we laugh?
Yeah.
I got a mild chuckle out of the immigrant guy having a freak out on Doug for something involving Teddy Grahams.
Because they don't reward the coupons anymore.
Well, yeah, that was a spoiler, I guess, for the finally finding out later on.
Yeah, you find that
there's like
it comes
there's
up
three
times.
Three times. It's a running joke, yeah.
Because she just slaps the hell out of him each time.
Yeah, but like not even across the face, just like over on the arms and stuff like that. He's like just a crazy slapper.
Yeah.
And we have no idea what it's about. Like we find out he doesn't. It's not Spanish he's speaking, so no one has any idea what he's.
Which is one
about.
of the funny jokes. I think it was in the trailer too. It was like that is not Spanish. Like
yeah,
I don't even know what that was. Which I think is the director. Wasn't it the director that was?
I didn't know. I did not. I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure it's the director, if I remember correctly.
No, it's not.
It's
Chris
not?
Conrad. I think it's maybe his brother because it's the same last name.
Oh, Steve Conrad, Chris Conrad. Gotcha. Okay, maybe that was my confusion.
I didn't notice that last name similarity either. So it's a good catch. Anyway, I didn't catch the employee's name, but there was a great. I mean, honestly, the funniest thing in this movie, maybe. No, second funniest thing in this movie. There's a great running gag in the store of this big dude who just grabs products off the shelf and uses them, puts them back.
Yeah.
Had me gagging and laughing.
Well, because I think this is one of the times where they do like they escalate it every time. Not escalate, not the right
Yeah.
word, but you know what I mean
It's
they.
no, it's right.
So
It's
yeah, and it's like one of the few times where it's like, wow, they got it with this joke, but they didn't do it with all the rest of the humor because like yeah, every time you do come to them, it's something even more ridiculous because I think it starts off with him just using deodorant.
Right, which is all like, oh, and then he
Yeah.
puts it back
Yeah.
after he's done with it. Like, ah!
And I think another
like,
time it's a soda.
Yeah, that's the next time. He grabs a 2-liter soda, uncorks it,
And puts it back
takes
again.
a couple of chugs and puts it back. Like, and the gag goes on.
Yeah.
Because then
At
next
the end,
time,
he's straight up shaving in the aisle.
wow, you missed the one that really had me freaking out. Is like he takes a swig of mouthwash and they cut away before we see what he does with it when he's gurgling it. And like, oh, he's spitting that back in the bottle, isn't he? Oh God! Oh.
See, yeah, I was doing the same thing, but I laughed harder when I saw the full-on shave.
Yeah, no, the final gag is him just shaving in the aisle. It's like perfect. That's great. That is perfect.
Managers and nobody gets fired.
No, not at all. Honestly, the best bits of this movie are Doug's neighbors.
Yeah, with the muffling, I couldn't always hear what they were saying either. Like I should have put subtitles on.
I did.
Yeah.
I did put the subtitles I wanted to hear because I was laughing from what I did hear. So first we have Doug and his wife about to get it on when they start hearing the banjo music, which instantly kills the mood. And I think would kill the mood for anyone who's seen Deliverance.
Yeah.
And like they like, hey, you mind? And like, no, sorry, man, I gotta practice. And it's like, just carry on. You guys are making out. It's fine. It's like, done. And then on another night, the banjo music plays again around 10 p.m. And Banjo Neighbor is having banjo practice with his partner. And the partner's like, whoa, that is not the way you play banjo. And the Banjo Neighbor says, I'm doing the best I can. No, you're not, because you don't love me. I love you intensely. Then show me by playing banjo. Better. Okay. Then show me sexually. And then Doug's wife Jen wakes up. Doug is serious, and she asks like, "Is this a dream or real?" And Doug just like, sigh, "It's real." Oh my God! And then the next bit, when Doug is seriously spiraling down from all that tension between him and Richard getting this job, he's trying to sleep and he hears, "Hey, I got an idea. Let's get down sexually while you play the banjo." Is that even possible? And then Doug hears banjo music and comments like, "Oh yeah, dude, that's a spot." and Doug is in absolute hell and says to himself, "I guess so. Guess it is possible."
Yeah, doesn't she also at one point when they get the house or she's lied to about getting the house or him getting the job, and she's like, "Goodbye, banjo fucks," or whatever. It's like the one time she gets to do something kind of funny.
Yeah. Anyway, that was the highlight for me. Just hearing some banjo, I guess, fellatio, whatever.
Yeah, I guess so.
That made me laugh the hardest.
Some of the cards, because you had to pick up cards of, I guess, how the parking lot is doing, or just the store in general.
Yeah, it's just comment cards that they stick in, and it's always about the parking lot, no matter what the comments are.
The parking lot. So you always get him reading, monologuing, or narrating what the cards say. So a few of those cards made me laugh. Like how one of them was about how one of the security guards was like sleeping in the car,
sleeping in her car. Yeah, that was also on there for me.
Yeah,
I gotta ask you.
Yeah.
So Richard, we mentioned this before, listens to the self-help book on tape.
Yeah.
That constantly drops his name.
Yeah. Richard.
And like,
Well.
Yeah, that's exactly in that cadence.
Yep.
Did you laugh at it ever?
No.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I thought there might be something funny because there was at one point they kind of intimated that Doug was hearing what was playing on his self-help type, but then he just looked like he was looking at him weird that he was listening to something. But then I was like, oh, is he going to call it out, or is there going to be a joke here? And then the movie just kind of moved on without anything. And it was just like, oh, okay.
I like. Am I supposed to just laugh at constantly hearing his name in that like monotone voice,
I
or
guess maybe when they start playing the music, and they still
I,
drop his name in.
I thought there
Um,
was gonna be some kind of punchline in the end, and like to this thing because it wasn't funny on its own. Like,
yeah,
and the movie ended. I'm like, oh
he just drops it because it didn't help him, I guess. So he just drops it. And
yeah,
that's about it. I think the only time with the tape was kind of funny was like the second song it plays or something. One of the last songs, it does a comment or something about how
oh
like,
yeah,
please don't tell anybody I don't have the rights to this song.
right. You
That
have to,
one
like,
kind of
fly
made
like
me
an eagle or
chuckle.
something like that. Yeah. So there's a scene where like Doug is pissed at Richard for calling dibs on inside duty to handle the Pepsi rep,
Yeah.
which forces Doug outside to lot duty, which is a no-win scenario where he gets humiliated in front of the executives of the company.
With the Charleston
And-
shoe.
Yeah. And as retaliation, Doug notices an employee of the month sign for Ernesto for cutting the cheese, which he knows will anger his bosses, but he leaves it in place for them to notice and getting Richard in trouble because he is the in-store manager at the time, and he should have taken care of that.
I thought he was getting a deli reward.
Well, that's
We say Kraken.
yeah. This is where I was gonna say. This is the funny part is that when Richard gets asked about this at the first round of manager interviews, he explains that he thought nothing of it because in Canada the idiom for farting is cracking the cheese. And like Mitch and the execs are incredulous, and this leads to a long staring contest to see who's being serious.
Yeah.
And it goes from like awkward to funny and just like back to awkward because it just goes on too long.
Goes on way. It's a little too long. Yeah.
Like it's like that Family Guy joke where like Peter like knocks his knee and just like
Yeah.
and then it goes on to it becomes funny again
Right.
and then not funny and then back to funny.
Yeah.
Like it cut out at the wrong moment. It should have gone longer on with the staring or cut out faster.
Or yeah, one or the other.
So Doug and his wife are meeting with their real estate agent at a coffee shop.
Yeah.
And
He's
getting
explain the forfeit, what forfeiture means.
Right. And they're getting the paperwork in order to buy the house. Only 10% down
Yeah.
in Chicago. Pre-housing crash era was crazy. And in walks Teddy Graham's guy who sees Doug and immediately starts slapping him a bunch of times and then runs away. And Jen has heard all about him but says, he's smaller than I imagine. And Doug says, yeah, well,
He's got a
lots
lot
of
of
stamina.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the randomness of the scene. That was apparently a scene they added after
Oh, good.
the movie was done filming. It's like,
They realized
we
we
need
need
something
more
else
humor.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's a thought. You had Fred Armisen. Why are you not using him?
It's a great, that one like stunned me.
Like the most he really gets to do is the retreat, right?
Yeah, this is exactly what I was going to bring up next. Is
Yeah.
Doug Richard and the rest of the grocery store and the executives all go to a company retreat
Yeah.
led by Jason Bateman.
Yeah, which is like also not given anything to do.
Bateman makes the most of it, I think.
I
But
guess he gets to be a little humorous about what happens to John C. Reilly, but that's
well, that
about
part I
it.
didn't like. But I can't believe that they got people working minimum wage to go to this
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
and walking over like hot coals and stuff. But anyway, Bateman tells everyone that shutting out distraction can help them achieve their goals and reach new heights. And he displays this by walking over hot coals. And Bateman just gives this great subtle, like in pain look
Yeah.
after he's done. Like, ugh. Like I said, he's like making the most of this like little small role.
Very, yeah. But the Fred Armisen completely falling and eating it over the coals did get a chuckle out of me.
Well, yeah, everyone like makes it over okay except for Scott, who falls down in the coals and then rolls off and almost rolls back on before he's stopped by Bateman, who just laughs and says, "That's why we sign waivers, everybody." I love the big dude, the one who is sampling all the products in the store.
Yeah.
His name tag says, "I'm not really interested."
I didn't catch that.
Yeah. So I'm not going to get into it because I didn't think it was funny. I'll just say that Richard really humiliates himself at the retreat. And he's slightly assisted by Doug, but it honestly feels like a teamwork of bullying.
Yeah, because everybody seems to be pretty quick with it. Yeah.
But
For some
Richard
odd reason,
decides...
they're thinking he's going to eventually clue in to take off the bag off his head, and he doesn't.
Richard brought it on himself, but they were all a little too enjoying it too much.
Yeah.
I thought they should have been sad for him at this moment.
And I guess they try to add humor too to his ridiculous tattoo.
Yeah, the kiss tattoo in the center of his chest because he's so tough.
But
such a tough upbringing.
Yeah, because that's another like weird flashback that almost didn't fit in the movie. Of him and the motorcycle gang, and like everybody's like giving the middle fingers and blowing through a toll booth, and then he's like sorry, and he's like tries to pay for everybody, and then he still gives the middle fingers, then he drives off. So it's like, was he really?
I actually laughed at that, so that was one of the things I was going to mention later. But
saying. Like they seem to have like realized we made a comedy without funny parts, so we need to go back in and add stuff.
Well, it's almost. Like I said, I don't know what they decided to do. Like, are you trying to be a serious movie or which? Like, you weren't.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of this was filmed like after the fact or whatever. It's weird.
Because you do get the later parts too, where they seem to almost like finally let John C. Reilly kind of do his thing, and he starts like cursing and having these outlandish reactions to the ship in the bottle and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, all right, well that would have been nice, like kind of like just. Why is this tacked on to the end kind of deal? But
yeah. Well, Richard gets his revenge by contacting the Pepsi rep, who was also his sponsor in AA and NA. And he gets inside duty for the week because Pepsi's launching out all new products. By the way, PepsiCo does not have any paper products. I don't know what the hell Scott was talking about.
Yeah, I
don't know. But yeah, so Doug is sent out to the lot all week, and it's like the last week before the final decision on the promotion, and it's like that's the wasteland. That's where only bad comments get, and it will reflect poorly on him. And that's where like the really scary like bad comments come in.
Yeah.
Where like one guy's like, I got kidney punched on the way to your store. I'm like, thanks, that was a first for me or something like that. And like one lady's is like, security is not great when your security guard's sleeping in my car.
I think one of them too said something about like my daughters learned some bad word or something.
Yeah,
so, thanks Donaldson or something.
I brought my brownies troop in to get snacks, and they learned the word cock in the parking lot.
Yeah.
So thanks Donaldson. Yeah. And while on duty, Doug gets a full bottle of Yoo-Hoo thrown at the back of his head.
Yeah.
I mean,
those things are glass at least definitely at this time.
I think that one was rubber or plastic or whatever, but still, it's like still stunning. It was like a full bottle. It's still stunning. He didn't like get like knocked the fuck out.
Yeah, concussed.
And retaliation, Doug is over and maces one of the kids.
Yeah. And
it is shocking and sadly only in the movie's moment, the cop investigating takes the black kid's words for it. Doug is in trouble.
Yeah.
And he has to give an apology speech to the community, which goes over well.
Really well, yeah.
Yeah, and while the higher-ups are talking to the community leaders, Richard decides to speak up in agreement that this was an isolated incident.
Black apples.
Just a few black apples.
What'd you say?
And this rightfully pisses the community leaders off.
Yeah.
Where the fuck you get this guy? And then, I love this, the next day we get cheerful narration from Doug saying, I guess it was mean to enjoy a rainbow cone to celebrate Richard's racial slur.
Yeah.
that got a laugh out of me.
Yeah, some stuff where it's like, oh, they just needed more stuff like that, maybe? Like, but yeah.
Yeah, and the last thing I mentioned was the flashback to Richard and the motorcycle gang. That was it for me. That's it for me for this movie.
That's
as far as laughing.
Me as well. So the Junior Olympics thing, not funny.
Not at all.
And they keep bringing it up as this joke over and over again. And then
I didn't know where to
with
fit
that
this
reveal?
I didn't know where to fit this.
I felt like I had to bring it up here. I
appreciate you bringing it up because I didn't know what to do with it.
I don't know what
there's another scene I also didn't know what to do with involving a mentally retarded person. And I'm like, this isn't funny. I don't know what the hell this is.
It's not
This
funny.
is weird.
Yeah.
And like the same with this. This is like, there's like a running gag, quote unquote, with like people asking him, hey, were you a male gymnast? And like, Doug is denying it the whole time. Like, I need some other guy, whatever.
Yeah.
And at the end of the movie, after he has gotten the job, and he starts doing like a floor routine, spiral and spins and cartwheels and whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, I haven't felt this good since I won silver in the whatever. And I'm like, why?
Why? Yeah.
Was it? Did the writer think it was something to be embarrassed about being a gymnast, or cool?
Yeah. There's something weird about being a male gymnast, I guess. And
Screw that.
he had to be
Male, female, they are
ashamed?
badass. They are
understand.
superheroes.
Yeah, and they're like ripped and insane in what they can do with their bodies. Like all of them.
Like, I will grant you, male gymnastics less interesting than female gymnastics.
Yeah.
But you ever watch Dude on the Pommel Horse? That shit is awesome.
Well, it's interesting too. I saw a couple of videos recently of like men trying to do women's routines and women trying to do men's routines, and like they can't do each other's routines.
No, because the men's is all based on upper body strength,
Right.
and the women's is all based on flexibility.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And movements of the body. And yeah, it's, I mean, dudes have the rings. Where it's like literally just like seeing what else they can do
Just
on that
makes me
stuff.
think of old school with funny movie. Still holding.
Yeah.
Spits out the cigarette. Still holding.
Yeah. I mean, it's, not even close. But still, I mean,
Yeah.
gymnastics is cool. I don't get it.
It was a weird attempt, I guess. I don't know.
So I gave this category a 3.
That's what I did.
thought it was, wow.
Yeah.
We are dead on.
Yep.
All right. Supporting characters.
This is a bummer because there's so much talent here,
This is a shocking amount of talent.
but there's like no one's able to really do anything.
Bateman does the best.
Yeah, I guess.
We already mentioned this.
To be honest, out of all of them, Fred Armisen's the one that made me laugh probably the loudest when he falls with the coal thing, and you barely get what Armisen's really good at in that moment.
Yeah. I mean, let's start with Jenna Fisher, I guess. Plays Doug's wife, Jen.
Yeah,
She looks fantastic.
sure.
I mean, she's never looked better. She is charming, and I could definitely understand Doug's fear of letting her down. This incredible supportive woman who works as a nurse and is surrounded by more successful men all day.
And has no problems about him not getting it, and is fine with going back to school herself, and is not like mean
Not
or
even-
whatever about
Yeah.
it.
She's just perfect. And it's like,
Yeah.
all right, well, that's nice.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, there's not much there for her to do.
She gets the funny line delivery. That was it.
Banjo fuckers, yeah.
Yep, that's it.
You got Tim's favorite, Lily Taylor, is here.
Why
Plays Richard's
Scottish?
wife, Lori.
Why? What was the point of that? To make me hate her more? I don't get it. Why?
I just laughed harder at you than I did throughout the whole movie.
It's like, what? Like, that would make sense if you wanted to bring in a certain actor to play a part and we needed to explain away them being foreign because you didn't want them to try to do an American accent or something. Like, okay, fine, whatever, I get that kind of stuff. But she's an American actress. Pretty sure she's like, isn't she from the Chicago type area too? So, like, why?
I'm like, okay, so I'm like, my thought was like, one, maybe it was written as Scottish and she thought it would be fun to play a Scottish character and just try that out. And two, or possibly like the combo, she's just like in the area. So she's like, yeah, I'll show up for like 2 days and do this. Sure.
She's like, hey.
Do I get to try out a funny accent?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, this looks like a really boring part for not much for me to do here. Can I just try a fun accent?
Yeah. And
Director's just like, okay.
if you were a female actress and you were like, if you're an actress getting stuck with like a really thankless role, I could definitely see somebody like, fine, but I'll be Scottish. You know? I'm like, all right.
Every time she popped up, my notes is just like, why?
It's not even she got much to do. Anyway.
She didn't,
So, like,
but it's just so annoying. So frustrating.
I will say though, she has never looked better in a movie.
Yeah.
She looked incredible in this movie.
That's fair. Fair enough.
Yeah. As Tim mentioned, Fred Armisen plays Doug's manager, Scott, at Donaldson.
Yeah.
He really doesn't do anything with the role. Only
again,
time he gets to be
everyone's
funny is when he
constrained.
falls in the coals, and Bateman steals the scene from him, in my opinion. And when he's talking about the waivers, so it's like I've seen Fred Armisen play like versions of this character in much funnier ways. So I'm like, I don't know whether he was like constrained, like you said,
I think so.
or he just didn't know what to do with it yet. I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah, super bizarre. Like even when he like pops in towards the beginning when you first meet him as Doug's getting out the cards and you just kind of see his face pan in, like I feel like that would have just been a prime spot for like a famous facial expression that Armisen can pull off, some zany looks and like or something. And it's like, nope, nothing.
It basically just plays this whole movie straight.
Yeah. I think that's what everyone's being asked to do. Play it straight in a comedy movie.
My biggest disappointment, Bobby Cannavale is here.
Yeah, what is playing Dr. Timms or whatever?
Playing Dr. I'm going to steal your girl, Timms.
But they never even play into that. They always just say it seems like he's a good dude. He's really good at his job and he saves lives and you should be jealous.
That's it.
And you should feel awful about yourself that you're here and you can't provide. That's all he's asked to do.
That's it. He's probably a little full of himself because he always forgets Doug's name, but he's just there to make Doug feel like a loser in comparison.
Yeah. That's about like he's never really does anything more awful than just he doesn't remember his name.
And it is a stunning, disappointing waste of Bobby Cannavale, which unfortunately takes up way too much of his career. But this is 5 years after The Station Agent. Like, what are we doing? Why are we wasting Bobby Cannavale this way? That guy's amazing and so charismatic.
Yeah. Big bummer.
Grr.
Agreed.
I'm just angry at Hollywood for like what we're wasting Bobby Cannavale.
Yeah. I mean, that's what this whole category is basically. It's a big bummer. We already talked about Bateman. And then I guess what you got Gil Bellows.
I was going to mention Gil Bellows plays Mitch, the Donaldson's exec, who will decide who gets the promotion. He looks like an executive at a company. So, and good for him.
He nails the part, but he's not really given anything to do.
I mean, if you found it funny to hear Gil Bellows ask Doug if
you talk about jacking it or something,
Richard was talking about jacking it in public in front of customers. If you thought it was funny, like I don't think there's a way to make that funny. I don't. But maybe if he did a hand motion or something, I don't know.
I don't know.
It's just like it was bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't bad. It's just like there's nothing there.
Yeah.
You got Massey Oka playing Doug and Jen's real estate agent.
Oh, okay. I didn't include that, but yeah.
He's only there for one scene, which, like I said, apparently added after production.
Good guy.
And it's a funny scene, but not because of anything he does, really.
Yeah.
But I was happy to see the dude get work.
Yeah.
Riding a high a little bit off of Heroes at the moment, I guess.
Be a good person. I think that was the line, right? From 30 Rock.
Don't be a zero.
Be a good guy or something.
Yeah. Be a good guy. That's what it was. Don't be a zero. Be a good guy. And the look on Kenneth's face. I feel like they missed something.
It's never good when we're like going to all these other funnier movies when we're trying to talk about this movie.
God, 30 Rock was brilliant.
Yeah.
Last and least, shout out to Maestro Harrell playing the Charleston Chew loving gang leader who also played the tragic Randy Wagstaff on The Wire.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Didn't make that connection at first. Okay.
Yeah, he was the one who's like decides to testify and gets his life ruined.
Right.
And like, the gang, by the way, is just a bunch of punk kids in the parking lot who hang around and hassle the customers occasionally while all wearing white shirts.
Yeah.
There. But yeah, I gave this category a 1.
Same.
Tim.
This is the first time we've ever been exact.
We gave this a combo of 6, huh?
Yeah.
This is our worst rated movie.
Well, for me, it's tied with things.
Oh, I'm sorry. I take it back. I have this above Sunshine Cleaning. And I feel fine with that.
Yeah, I have it tied with Sex and the City and War Inc. And I'm putting it below Sex and the City, but I have it over War Inc.
Okay. I have this below Soul Men, but above Sunshine Cleaning.
So, but wait, what?
Well, it's a 6, so you should be able to.
Yeah, okay, sorry. Yeah, after Soul Men, before. Yeah, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, below Soul Men, above Sunshine Cleaning.
Yeah.
So this movie had a budget of $8 million and a worldwide gross of $457,690. Debuted at number 46 in its first weekend of release, losing to Kung Fu Panda and You Don't Mess with the Zohan in their first weekend of release. But it only played in 6 theaters in its first weekend and topped out at 81 theaters and number 22 overall in the following weekend, where it lost again to The Incredible Hulk and Tim's favorite, The Happening, in its debut weekend.
Oh, boy.
A plant.
A tree.
A tree.
A goat. It's out of your mother for him.
Oh, I love years later, like, no, we knew we were making a comedy. Oh, no, you didn't.
No.
You're a fucking liar. I especially knew Wahlberg did not.
No, sir.
I've seen Wahlberg when he's making a comedy. He didn't know.
Yeah. Because again, we prescribe to the same theory. Like, Wahlberg could be insanely good.
Yep.
If he's in the right part and directed well, like he can be excellent. And then if he's put with the wrong people, it could be bad.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah. It could be bad. But like, I will never say the dude doesn't have talent. So
I mean, my guy was the best part of I Heart Huckabees.
yeah.
When he's working with like a really good director and he gets what he's supposed to be doing, he's on it.
Isn't that supposed to be too like some real insane behind the scenes stuff, like people not getting along and fights and stuff like that? If I remember correctly. I think there's some famous recording of some kind of like Lily Allen or going nuts.
David O. Russell is a historic asshole.
Yeah, he's like famous for it. Yeah.
Yeah, and he got into it with Lily Tomlin and Dustin Hoffman. But yeah, it's mostly him and Lily Tomlin going at it.
He did Three Kings, right?
Where he fought George Clooney. George Clooney punched him in the face.
Yeah, okay, yep. Okay.
And they'll never work with him again.
Yep.
And because George Clooney was furious at the way he was treating the crew.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't talk to people like that. Yeah, so, George Clooney, good guy. David O. Russell, not so much.
Apparently not. But yeah, I mean,
and that's like the least of like David O. Russell's supposed offenses. So it's like alleged offenses. It's
right.
Like,
yeah.
So, yeah, short episode, but you know, it wasn't a great movie. So
that's true. It just, there wasn't enough there. And so that's kind of where I'm struggling with. So I feel like I got to pick us back up then. But there's a few stinkers here too.
Yeah, we gotta spread them out.
I know. So what to do?
I'll tell you what. I am leaning towards. Oh, no, I take it back. Go ahead.
Okay.
I got 2 movies on my radar right now. So.
There's a few that I'm thinking of. I was thinking of Smart People, which I've not seen yet, which I haven't heard that great of things. I was thinking Choke, or I was thinking going Tropic Thunder.
I definitely lean toward the 2 latter.
So Choke, was it? No, did I say
Choke or more Tropic Thunder? Yeah,
Choke or Tropic Thunder. Man, yeah. All right, let's pick ourselves back up. Let's go Tropic Thunder.
All right. What do you mean, you people?
Booty sweat. Yeah, man. Tom Cruise in that movie too, like almost steals the show.
Tom Cruise, McConaughey, like a low point in his career, I think. Steve Coogan is back again.
Yes, short part, but yeah.
Yeah.
Funny movie.
Nick Nolte in one of the funniest goddamn roles I've ever seen. All right.
Yeah, man. I'm excited.
You know what? I love it. We're going to do Ben Stiller. The Knicks are kicking ass.
Yeah, there you go. I liked it. Look, that was the right pick to make. Look at that.
My I don't know. I hate to take this away from Spike, but he's in the upper echelon. He's in the Hall of Fame of Knick fans, Ben Stiller, right now, because he's clapping back at Kelly Oubre on Twitter. I love that shit.
Yeah. That's always helpful.
All right.
Okay. Well, that is it for us. Please show your support for the podcast by leaving a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, or wherever you listen to the show. Also, sharing is caring. Be sure to follow us on social media to get the latest show updates. You can contact us by emailing at feelingbrochamp@gmail.com or find us by searching the hashtag feelingbrochamp. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Feeling Bro Championship Podcast. Peace out, everyone.
Let's go, Knicks!